NFL Daily. We have the latest rumors and news. Leading things off, Michael Crabtree. The Ravens have told him they're cutting him, so he once again needs a new NFL team. Over for the Pittsburgh Steelers as the drama continues. The Steelers GM says that 3 teams have called about Antonio Brown. That's not very many. And then will Le'Veon Bell actually have a big market? Maybe not. He's asking for a lot of money. Not many teams can actually afford him. We'll break down some landing spots and some other teams that make some sense. All that and more coming up right now. And you are watching NFL Daily. I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me is Mitchell Renz on this Monday. Mitch, let's talk some NFL rumors and news. We'll start things off with the news side of things. We'll focus in on Michael Crabtree. The Ravens have told Crabtree they're going to cut him. A move that saves Baltimore about $4.6 million in cap space as they once again plan to overhaul that wide receiver corps.
Yeah, not that I'm totally surprised, but there's going to be, I think, a lot of overhaul for the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they have a lot of free agent running backs, and now Michael Crabtree, he's on his way out. Who the heck is Lamar Jackson going to be throwing the football to?
Someone they draft.
I have absolutely no idea. Hopefully it's better than their past success in drafting wide receivers, because that has also not been very good.
It was a 3-year, $21 million deal for Crabtree. He does not, of course, get all of that. And now the Ravens are in a very interesting spot where number one, and you can't tell I'm using air quotes there, number one receiver John Brown is a free agent. That leaves Willie Snead, Chris Moore, and a bunch of dudes no one's heard of, including 2 rookies, Jaleel Scott and Jordan Lasley.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough depth chart. I think the worst part about that picture was Willie Snead's hair. But, I mean, Crabtree was last year, right? And, I mean, I think he struggled with drops again, and he's struggled with drops. But I'll be the first to say it. We were kind of talking about it. I think Michael Crabtree is an okay wide receiver still.
He's a secondary option.
Yeah, like he's not a one guy anymore,
Exactly.
and I don't think he ever lived up to the hype that he was supposed to be. However, I still think there's a lot of wide receiver needy teams out there, and if you need somebody who can at least run solid routes and can pick up an offense quick, Michael Crabtree,
and has shown plenty of red zone ability. He'll get a chance somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
Let's move then to Robert Kraft. And per the probable cause affidavit issued by police in Florida, here's what happened with Kraft. He visited the massage parlor. Of course, I assume everyone here knows what happened to Robert Kraft by this point. On the morning of the AFC title game, was there for about 15 minutes. There's video evidence of being serviced, and then he left. Now his court date is set for April 24th, by the way, one day before the NFL draft.
Yep.
Now, Florida law does allow Kraft to not actually appear. His attorney can appear on his behalf. So you might not have to go down there.
15 minutes is all it took.
Yeah.
That boy, Robert.
There you go.
That boy. Oh, man. That's incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I'm
should.
curious to see what the NFL does to him. All right, question for you, Mitch, and everyone watching as well. What's your favorite Hostess snack? Ding Dong, Twinkie, Ho Ho. Very fitting names after the Robert Kraft incident.
Oh, man.
The correct answer, by the way, is Twinkie. Now, excuse me while I eat my Twinkie on air.
Eat it without taking a bite. If I had to pick anything that I'm going to, on this list, I'm probably going to go with a Ho Ho.
You would.
What, you think I'd rather shove a Ding Dong in my mouth? Maybe you. I don't know. We want to know from everybody commenting. Anthony Meatball says cupcakes in the comment section.
It's also a good choice.
Tim says cream pie, which I don't even think was on there, but it's all good. Ruben
Oatmeal
says
cream pie.
ho-ho.
Still counts.
Dude, oatmeal cream pies, I would absolutely
Also
crush.
inappropriate for this conversation.
No, not at all. All right, we'll go to the next rumor, then we'll get to this next one. Marshawn Lynch, is this dude playing again? And he's going to be...
It, of course, stems from the Raiders staying in Oakland.
Sure.
Makes it plausible, right?
Sure, and here's the thing, I think that Lynch is going to play again, but the main concern is if the Raiders are 100% going to play in Oakland, and they are, I think Marshawn Lynch ultimately comes back because I think he's a great fit for Oakland, and, it's just personally for me, I think he's ultimately a great fit there.
That makes sense there. And for Lynch, at least, having him... I don't think he had any interest playing anywhere but the Bay Area. Maybe if it was in San Francisco, it could make some sense as well. But if it wasn't in Oakland, or if it wasn't in San Francisco, I don't think he wants to play. I think he wants to play in his hometown still. but that's just me, you know?
No, and I 100% totally agree. And I mean, I know I've been talking about a bunch on my show, the Raiders Report, that personally I think he would retire if they weren't going to play in Oakland again. But at all things stand, the Raiders, they're staying in Oakland in 2019, and they were able to reach the deal to finally stay there. I think it's around $7.5 million. Heck, Tom, there's already rumors that the Raiders might have to stay in Oakland in 2020 if the stadium's not ready,
Which just feels classic.
Classic.
You know?
I'll tell you what, if there's one team that I want to see on Hard Knocks, it is the Oakland Raiders in 2019.
Oh, yeah. It's a no-brainer.
It would be absolute slam dunk quality television. And imagine if they go out and, let's say, get Antonio Brown, you can almost
Even
put it
better.
on the board. It's Hard Knocks going to be in Oakland.
I think it's going to be with the Raiders no matter what. I think that's what's going to have staying. Now,
Okay.
Just some other details here on the Raiders staying in Oakland. They've reached a deal with the Coliseum Authority to play in Oakland for 2019. Also includes that team option you mentioned, Mitch, for 2020, if needed. That extra insurance just in case Vegas isn't ready. There are still some steps that need to be taken here. Namely, they have to actually finalize it. The board for the Raiders has to approve it. The city council has to approve it. And the NFL has to say yes in league meetings later in March, which I think all those things will happen.
I think all those things are going to happen. I mean, Goodell said it numerous times that he wanted the Raiders to stay in Oakland the entire time, and hopefully the where are the Raiders going to play in 2019 saga is over.
Yeah.
So the Raiders, they're going to live in Oakland at least for one more year in 2019, and hopefully Vegas in 2020. But we want to know from everybody, where do you live? I don't need your exact address, but
That's creepy.
I just want to know the city. Where do you guys live? If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, comment below. Tom, how about this? Where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
There you
grew
go.
up in a small town, Danville, Pennsylvania, representing
not
that
a real place.
570. 570 represent. Get in the comments section. Jared saying Florida. Ruben says California. Luke Miller, West Virginia. Thanks for watching, guys.
Let's move to some more NFL rumors. How about Antonio Brown? Steelers GM Kevin Colbert says 3 teams have called to talk trade about Antonio Brown. That's not very many, Mitch. That's a very limited amount of teams that have called about Antonio Brown, which I think makes sense because I think he's done everything he can to destroy his trade value.
100%. And even just because we see those 3 teams, I personally would be surprised if the Steelers trade Antonio Brown to 25 teams in the NFL. I think that there is literally only a handful of teams that he has an actual shot at going to. So just because it says 3 teams called doesn't necessarily mean that those 3 teams have a chance.
And Colbert continues to say if it doesn't benefit us that the Steelers won't do it. There is, though, kind of an artificial timeline here for Pittsburgh and Antonio Brown. That's March 17th when that $2.5 million roster bonus is due.
Kicks in.
Once you pay that, Pittsburgh would be paying more to keep Antonio Brown off the roster than they would be just to keep him with the way the dead money is structured. That's not what they want to do, which naturally would increase the asking price. But with what Antonio Brown has done, his trade value is so low, we used to think that they were going to get at least a first-round pick. I mean, 3 full years at a fairly cheap price, relatively speaking, for a premier receiver. Now it's 3 years, a lot of money. He might want a new fully guaranteed deal, and he wants to is making all these weird statements on social media. Value's gone way down. I don't have a great feel for it.
You show me Antonio Brown's production the past year and the past 6 years, and you take away his name, Antonio Brown, first-round pick at least. I mean, easily.
Yeah.
But you put, Mr. Big Chest there.
There you go. Got it right.
And now his trade value has just gone to absolute you-know-what.
All right, speaking of Steelers players with maybe a bit of a limited market, how about Bell? Now, he sat out all the 2018 season, and I think in the end did cost himself money. There was that one report that he wants $50 million in guarantees. I don't think he's going to get that. I think his own self-value is way off what the actual market value is for him. And CBS Sports reports that the actual market for Bell is rather limited. The Jets make sense. Bucs, Eagles, and then beyond that, it's kind of a little bit iffy, and I think money's too tight Philadelphia as it is. So Le'Veon Bell is not going to get the 16, 17 per year and $50 million guarantees that he initially wanted.
I mean, I personally don't think he should. I mean, there's reports right now that the dude's 260 pounds. You're telling me he sat out on his team. He could potentially out of game shape, and James Conner was a Pro Bowl.
I still think that leak came from the Jets attempting to
hit
Drive
his value
down
a little bit.
exactly.
Hey, man, I saw a picture of him on a jet ski. Just saying. I'm just saying. He did not look in football shape. But, again, you're talking about a running back who his value, I think, has definitely dropped. James Conner made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the system.
All right, so what team is the best fit for Bell? Mitch, what do you think?
I still think it's the New York Jets. I think that they have the most money to spend. I think that they need a running back. And Le'Veon, you want some pressure and you want to have a big name, Le'Veon Bell, the Big Apple, there you go.
If Houston can actually upgrade their offensive line, I kind
Okay.
of like that fit as well. Now, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, they're going to give you $60 for free to bet with, Mitch. It's the best betting deal out there.
Don't just stop there, Tom. $100, $120 for free. Be a big baller like Tom, puts down $500, $600 for free. Tom's still using, you want to talk about a guy who can bet? This dude, he's still using his bonus money, and heck,
I think I'm 3X now.
it's insane. But like once you guys get down that bonus money, you get stuff for Christmas, you get stuff for Thanksgiving. They just randomly just throw all this extra money in your account. Chatsports.com/bet.
Let's talk Tampa Bay then. Gerald McCoy, he might actually be staying after
way.
all. Has that $13 million non-guaranteed cap hit. But the report out of Tampa is that the Bucs feel good about it. They're going to keep him. There were those cut rumors. Yes, they're moving to a 3-4 scheme, but McCoy does fit under that with Todd Bowles. It's more of an attacking 3-4 scheme, not a two-gapping scheme for those interior defensive linemen.
Sure, but I watched Gerald McCoy this past year, and I think that he definitely lost a step or two.
He's still good, though.
He's still good. I'm not saying he's not, but for the money,
When the fan bases of like every NFL team want to sign a guy you're going to cut,
sure.
oftentimes that means maybe you don't want to cut him. Not always, but often.
Fair, but again, I don't know if I want to pay him that much money. I think
That's fair.
the Buccaneers, their real defensive issues is in that secondary.
Yeah, and speaking of that secondary, they tried to
Oh,
trade for Landon Collins. They offered him they offered the Giants, a third rounder at the deadline. Now we don't know if the Giants are going to franchise tag Collins. If they don't, and they let him leave and get maybe a comp pick back, this will have been a disastrous handling
Oh,
of a player.
I remember you and I were talking about it on one show. We're like, yeah, all right, there's no way the Giants are dumb enough to let Landon Collins go. Well,
Because they didn't trade him. And he's good.
That's what I mean. But not only that, like, my favorite are like when a reporter's like, oh, he didn't clean out his locker. And then Landon Collins is like, I took everything I needed. And it's looking like right now, like anytime a player says, hey, I said goodbye to my teammates, I'm connecting the dots. And it's looking like he's going to be a free agent.
All right, Bucs do make sense there, of course. They tried to trade for him. Beyond that, from a need perspective, Justin Evans, I think, is one starting safety. Jordan Whitehead, a guy I liked out of Pitt. Probably more of a number 3 at this point in his NFL career at best. Your top 4 safety backups are all free agents, let alone your cornerback problems.
It's ugly. I mean, that is an ugly defensive depth chart. Like, it's why they've basically been bottom 3 in the NFL in pass yards allowed the last 2 years.
All right, so where will Landon Collins play in 2019? Let us know in the comment section. Mitch, I'm still going to go with the Giants. I will operate on the assumption that, no, New York isn't as dumb as I think they might be right now.
And then I'll say this. Since you went that route, I'll go the route. If he doesn't end up playing with the Giants, the two teams that I think make the most sense, Raiders make sense, but the team that I think is going to go out and get him are the Colts because they got the most money.
Makes quite a bit of sense as well. We'll stick with a bit of Bucs connections here. Markus Golden. The Cardinals will reportedly let Golden reach free agency, which I think makes sense. Was great in 2016. 12.5 sacks. Has not been the same guy since that, in large part because of injuries. Now, if he leaves, the Bucs and the Giants, who we just mentioned, make a lot of sense because they have former Cardinals coaches there. Bruce Arians, Todd Bowles are with the Bucs, and then James Betcher is the Giants DC, who was with Arizona for a long time as well.
Yeah, I think, though, when I'm looking at Marcus, like, last year he played 11 games, year before that, 4 games.
It's the injuries that killed him.
It's the injuries. Like, he's a I don't want to say very talented player.
We've seen the production, though.
Correct. But at the end of the day, if you're not on the field,
Exactly.
how good are you actually?
As a potential kind of one-year flyer, I think he makes a lot of sense for both the Bucs and the Giants. All right, let's talk draft because we're doing this thing again where we make Daniel Jones not awful. Now, NFL.com reports some teams have Jones as quarterback number 1. And a poor quarterback class helps prospects like Jones. And the claim was that, look, he's pro-ready. He worked under David Cutcliffe. The thing is, though, I think he's going to, he is going to do great on the whiteboard. He's going to be impressive in interviews. But in terms of pro-ready, his actual offense at Duke was nothing pro-ready. It was all RPOs and play action and one read passes.
I'll tell you what.
You know, I see producer Brett making fun of me. Daniel Jones is not good. He's not good.
If you guys want to get Tom triggered in the comments section, literally just comment Daniel Jones.
Now, remember, I'm allowed to criticize him from now up until when he's drafted. Then the fan base that drafts him won't let me do it anymore. It's the exact same thing happened with Josh Allen last year. Every single comment we had on the shows was Josh Allen's overrated. And the Bills take him, and now he's not overrated anymore.
I want you to look at the comments section.
Oh, boy, that's what we got here.
Type it. Let's see it.
That's funny. Now, okay, I appreciate that. That's pretty funny, guys.
Oh, Omar says Daniel Jones is good. I don't know,
Good,
Omar.
He's not good.
I don't know.
He's not good.
All right, who's the best quarterback? Let's talk about quarterbacks that are actually good. Who's the best quarterback in this year's NFL draft class? Tom, you're the NFL draft expert here. Who's the best?
Whichever won the Patriots draft. I kid, but I saw that comment about Daniel Jones and Patriots. If that does happen, then I'll feel worried because Belichick will make him great somehow. I'm going to go with Dwayne Haskins.
Okay.
But Kyler Murray's also in that discussion, and he reportedly bulked up for the NFL Combine now at 206 pounds, a good 10 pounds heavier than his listed weight of 195, and I think his playing weight was closer to 190. There's still going to be fears over his size and everything, but that is intriguing for Kyler Murray. It's a little bit closer to what Russell Wilson checked in at.
Yeah, that's just what I was about to say. I mean, for him to be able to put on that much weight, I think is a good sign. But also, I mean, he's literally shorter than me, and that's a lot of weight. I think one of the things that made Kyler Murray as dynamic as what he was is how electric he was and how he could just wiggle around.
He got a little thick. I've seen the photos of him, which I don't think it's going to impact his speed too much.
Okay.
I still think he'll be fine at 206.
All right. Which quarterback would you guys rather draft? Type H for Dwayne Haskins or M for Kyler Murray? For me, Tom, I'm typing my M for Kyler Murray. If I have a game to win, I'm betting on Kyler Murray. Like, I don't give a shit about size. I don't care about any of that stuff.
I am still going to lean toward Haskins, but it's very much a 1A, 1B, and what overall is not that good of a draft class for quarterback.
Fair. Give me Kyler. Let me see some M's in the comments section. For Mitch, too.